Hi, this is Margaret, and we're going to think about the context for our class here, starting with Lecture 1. So this class is about the principles that underlie green buildings, and green buildings is a subject that architects and designers are very, very interested in. Why is that? To answer that question, let's step back and think about the context. And the context that underlies green building design is a field known as sustainability. What is that? Sustainability, that word, means enduring into the long-term future. It refers to systems and processes that can operate and persist on their own over long periods of time. So let's look at some basic principles in this field. First of all, life is made of systems, and a system is an organized set of elements where the whole is always greater than the sum of its parts, and it's the parts connected together that generate the identity of the whole. Everything is connected. There is no waste. Everything gets used, and waste from one organism is always food for another. Everything gets recycled. And here I want to jump out of the PowerPoint just a second and show you something about these slides. I try to keep these PowerPoint slides clean so that they're easy to look at and think about. But many of these slides have extra notes in the bottom, in the notes field, that you might want to look at. So, for example, this slide is about how everything gets recycled, how everything is made of cycles. But down here in the notes field are some details about the time spans of various kinds of cycles, from the water cycle on up through the rock cycle, and even the star and galaxy cycle. If you want to see these note fields, then you'd want to be in this kind of outline view for PowerPoint. And if you look down at the bottom of the PowerPoint slide, there's an icon down here. It says normal view, but it's a picture of what the slide looks like to you. So I've clicked that now. If you want to have the whole slide fill your screen, and that's what I want to do, then you go over to this button here, Slideshow, and that's a picture of a pull-down screen, and I'm going to click that and go back to our PowerPoint now. Green building designers always try to pattern their solutions on systems that they know operate and endure over long periods of time. Well, life has been making its way on this planet for 3.8 billion years, and for all but 150,000 years of that, it has done that successfully without us. So right outside your door is your instruction manual. As designers and builders, we want to read that instruction manual carefully so we can develop solutions that will work. When we think about sustainability, we talk about the 3 pillars of sustainability, sometimes also known as the triple bottom line. This is not just about the environment or the ecology that is our life support system. There are 3 interrelated dimensions to sustainability: ecological sustainability, economic opportunity, and social inclusion, and they are all connected. There are some big challenges, but there are also reasons to be hopeful. And we will get to that throughout most of this class. But first, let's think about the challenges. We live on a planet that's changing fast. In just the last 50 years, population has more than doubled. Global consumption of water has more than tripled. The use of fossil fuels has quadrupled, and the end of cheap fossil fuels is around the corner. Synthetic pesticides and heavy metals are found in the tissues of every animal on Earth. 90% of large fish have disappeared from ocean fisheries, victims of overfishing. Deforestation is accelerating. Our consumption exceeds Earth's carrying capacity by 40% now, and we are on track to exceed it by 100% in the next 10 to 20 years. Meanwhile, the gap between rich and poor is growing ever wider. A sixth mass extinction is underway, with 50% of species alive today predicted to be gone by the year 2050. 5 times in the history of the planet, massive worldwide extinctions have sent large numbers of species into oblivion. The most massive die-off happened at the end of the Permian, about 250 million years ago, when 75% of all land animals and 96% of marine animals went extinct. The most famous mass extinction occurred at the end of the Cretaceous, about 65 million years ago, when the dinosaurs, along with about 80% of all animal species, went extinct. That was probably caused by a very large meteor that struck the Earth near the Yucatan Peninsula. A sixth mass extinction is underway now. We've already exceeded the safe operating space for several planetary boundaries. The Holocene has come to an end, and we have entered the Anthropocene. What does that mean? On the geological timeline, the Pleistocene was the time of ice ages, when creatures like mastodons and camels roamed the land that is now Oregon. Then came the Holocene. This was a 10,000-year period with an unusually stable climate, which allowed the development of civilization. This was the time which spanned all of written human history until now. This is a report published by an international group of scientists. So, the International Commission on Stratigraphy is the official body which formally establishes the geological timescale, that timescale that we've all seen in textbooks and all over the place. And it has a number of subgroups. One of the subgroups is called the Anthropocene Working Group, and this group has been investigating whether a new geological epoch should be officially designated, and if so, what physical evidence should be used as its marker. This working group held a binding vote, and they have agreed that, yes, a new geological epoch has in fact started. So now they are working on the physical markers, and their report on that is due in 2021. So, we live at the beginning of a new geological epoch known as the Anthropocene, a period in which human activity has become such a powerful force that it has major planet-scale impact on climate and on every living system. Storms and wildfires are growing, mountain glaciers are melting, sea level is rising. The Earth system has become destabilized. Nevertheless, there are grounds for hope, and that is the basis for this class. It turns out that designing green buildings is one of the significant things we can do to have an impact. Humans have gone through several major transitions in their history: the discovery of fire, the development of language, the development of agriculture, the Industrial Revolution. We live on the threshold of the fifth great turning. You might say this is a turn away from a fossil fuel-powered, climate-destabilizing, growth-based industrial economy toward a sustainable, regenerative economy. And this is where green buildings will play a central role. More on that next week. And I want to show you that many of our PowerPoint slides have a list of resources for you at the end. These are the sources that I quoted in the slides and that you may want to consult. All right, that's all for now. See you soon.